As an Intel shareholder, I always have to give credit to AMD and especially Lisa Su, since she came in over 10 years ago. 10 years ago, AMD was close to bankruptcy. 10 years ago, Intel was number one and it wasn't even close. Intel has so much money, didn't even know what to do with that, and that's why they were just buying back a lot of shares, even though shares were expensive, paying a nice dividend, even though they should have focused more on making sure the next products are going to be better than the previous ones. Focus maybe on AI, right? If you have a visionary CEO, visionary team, should have seen AI coming, right? That didn't happen. Lisa Su came in at AMD, turned it all around, new architecture, and now is comfortably, let's say, the number two. I mean, if you look at the performance here in the last 10 years, it's up over 5,000%. Market cap wise, it's well more than double that of Intel. But yes, this year we've seen some underperformance by AMD. At the start of the year, not so much. At the start of the year, this was up 43%. But now, year to date, the stock is down 6%. So what exactly is going on here? We also had a comment from someone at Amazon that, well, wasn't really well received by the market, and that's why the stock went down in the last couple of days. But just because all the attention is going towards Nvidia or even some hyperscalers, right? Because they're all designing their own chips. I think it's unfair right now to disregard AMD as a big player here. Of course, Nvidia number one by far. But I think AMD as the number two, especially at these prices. I mean, with the current projections, which we're going to go over in this video, I think 2025 we could see AMD outperform. 2024 underperform, 2025 outperform. I'll make a separate video about Intel because whatever is going on there is very interesting right now. Pat Gelsinger still has CEO of Intel in his bio on X. He's now tweeting out and responding to some tweets. It's very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Anyways, focusing back on AMD. Let's talk about the stock and let's talk about the recent announcement and why I think the market is just overreacting yet again. If you enjoy this type of videos, leave it a thumbs up, subscribe if you have not, really appreciate that. If you want to support me even further, do check out the link down in the description and the pinned comment with the top 10 best stocks to buy now, or go to fool.com/couchinvestor. Thank you very much. I do want to first start by showing you the, let's say, market sentiment or the analyst sentiment towards AMD, because currently the average analyst price target sits 33.4% higher than the price we're at right now. If we look at some pricing metrics, forward PE, EV to EBITDA, price to sales, price to free cash flow. Forward PE 30.6 times compared to 37.6 times. EV to EBITDA 30.7 times, price to sales 7.3 times, which is very close to the 5-year mean here. Price to free cash flow, that's in the last 12 months, that's expected to be much, much better in the next 12 months, as you will see later in this video. And then price earnings to growth 0.72. Under one is undervalued. I think this company is just misunderstood right now. And I would agree, and it's what I've been saying for a long, long time. I would agree that with all the AI momentum, let's say with everything that we've seen with Nvidia, you would have thought that maybe AMD from the AI side would have grown much quicker, right? Would have grown much more than what we have seen. It's true that data center revenue has increased quite quickly this year, way more than all the other segments. I mean, they've faced some headwinds with regards to gaming, but yeah, data center is up quite a lot. They've talked about revenue from AI exceeding $5 billion for the year, which is more than last quarter, what they told us last quarter, and definitely way more than what they told us at the start of the year. But again, it's only $5 billion. Market was probably expecting a bit more. All in all, last quarter, these were the numbers. So data center revenue, really not an issue. Year-over-year growth and quarter-over-quarter growth, very, very strong there. Client one, growing year-over-year and quarter-over-quarter. With regards to gaming, some weakness there, and embedded as well, still seeing some weakness. Now remember I said with regards to free cash flow, the next 12 months, the pricing metric there will be much, much better, and that's because of this. Last 12 months, free cash flow were at 1.55 billion. But for fiscal 2024, that number is basically expected to be closer to $3.7 billion. Then in fiscal 2025, it's expected to grow by 90%. And then in fiscal 2026, by another 33%, reaching $9.33 billion in free cash flow just 2 fiscal years from now. Now, how will they reach those numbers? Well, it's probably again thanks to the data center side of the business. If you look at operating income for the company, well, the large majority comes from data center, then you've got client and gaming. Now, of course, if we compare it to the other two, to NVIDIA, which NVIDIA is the green one here, that's NVIDIA gross profit margin in the league of their own. If you look at AMD, for example, which is the orange line right here, has been recovering, right? Has been recovering since Q2 2023, not by much, but we're now at 52.1%. And of course, compared to Intel, well, it's much, much better. But then again, Intel also has a foundry side of things, so it's not always apples to apples. Now, what brought the stock down was basically this. Amazon isn't seeing enough demand for AMD's AI chips to offer them via its cloud. AWS has not committed to offering cloud access to AMD's AI chips, in part due to low customer demand. AWS said it was considering offering AMD's new AI chips last year. AMD recently increased the sales forecast for its AI chips, which again is making all of this quite laughable. So Hut said the following: "We follow customer demand. If customers have strong indications that those are needed, then there's no reason not to deploy. AWS is not yet seeing that high demand for AMD's AI chips." AWS provided cloud access to other AI chips such as NVIDIA GPUs. At reInvent, AWS announced the launch of P6 servers which come with NVIDIA's latest Blackwell GPUs. AWS and AMD are still close partners, according to Hut. AWS offers cloud access to AMD's CPU server chips, and AMD's AI chip product line is always under consideration. An AMD spokesperson said it did not have a comment on Hut's statement, but reiterated the Dr. Lisa Su-led company has multiple public customers, including Microsoft Azure, Meta, Oracle, IBM Cloud, and others like TensorWave and Nscale, that have talked about their use of the AMD Instinct accelerator and the benefits and the demand for them. The spokesperson also noted Meta is using AMD's Instinct as the sole accelerator on the Llama 3.1 405B model. Now, we're already at Llama 3.3, so let's see what happens with that. While Microsoft said that Instinct provides them the best price to performance for GPT-4 inference on Microsoft Azure. And remember, last quarter, Lisa Su talked about, well, the next products that are coming out for AMD. So it said the following: "We have successfully accelerated our product development pace to deliver an annual cadence of new Instinct products. Our next-gen MI350 series is looking very good and is on track to launch in the second half of 2025 with the largest generational increase in AI performance we have ever delivered. Development on our MI400 series, based on the CDNA Next architecture, is also progressing very well towards a 2026 launch. We've built significant momentum across our data center AI business, with deployments increasing across an expanding set of cloud, enterprise, and AI customers. As a result, we now expect data center GPU revenue to exceed $5 billion in 2024, up from $4.5 billion that they guided back in July, and the original $2 billion when they started the year. Of course, that's great. But then the question will be, what happens in 2025? That's basically what the analysts right now are waiting for, right? It's probably the next quarter. Okay, exceeding $5 billion for 2024, great. But what about 2025? What's that number going to be? Are we going to grow much quicker? Are we going to go to 7, 7.5, 8? Could they double that? Maybe, maybe not. So we're now in a phase where, okay, the stock is down for the year. I've seen very, very weak actually in the last couple of months. But what's next? What's next? Are you going to wait to see what's next? Or are you going to take a chance right now and say, look, the revival of AMD 10 years ago tells me that this company knows what they're doing. Yes, of course, now they're not fighting Intel. They're going to fight NVIDIA. But to be honest, I don't even think they're fighting NVIDIA per se, since this market is so big. We're still very, very early days here. So they're fighting themselves, let's say, their own engineering. Let's provide the customers with the best products. And if it's the best product out there, best performance or the best price, it's probably going to sell, logically speaking. And so right now, looking at the stock, still here in between waiting, it's going to look quite interesting if we actually reach the next earnings report, and that's when this stock actually moves out. I don't always believe in technical analysis, but I've seen so many of those already in the past couple of years, and yes, sometimes they do work out to the dot, which is pretty crazy. Anyways, here on the weekly, we're back under the 20-day moving average. The stock did not stay above that, but we finished the week as a green candle. RSI is pretty neutral right now. So yeah, we're back under $140. And to be honest, I mean, yeah, if you only look at the pricing metrics and stuff like that, then it paints you half the picture. Because we're talking here about AMD. We're not talking here about a company that will, I don't know, I can't come up with a good example here, but with AMD, with these types of companies, it's also important to look at the products, the product roadmaps, look at some interviews here and there to understand why is the company trading at those multiples. There's probably a reason for that, right? So yeah, you have to look at the releases, the benchmark numbers for the next GPUs, the CPUs, etc., etc. What do the customers say? Do they like it? Do they don't like it, etc., etc. We've seen a lot of hype around Qualcomm and ARM-based computers coming out, right? What happened? We haven't heard anything since then, right? Since that announcement, they got a lot of attention. Now, nothing anymore. Now, I'm not saying that they're not going to be successful, but sometimes there's a lot of hype, sometimes there's a lot of noise. It's always important to actually dig a little bit deeper and see what the heck is going on. With AMD, even me as an Intel shareholder, I can see that there is a lot of value here and there is some misunderstanding. Yes, it's true, there are some question marks for 2025. But, I mean, Lisa Su already proved everyone wrong. Do we doubt her again? I don't think so. Anyways, I think going to 2025 could be a, let's say, contrarian pick, AMD. I'm still going with Intel, which I know is crazy, but I'll explain it in another video. Anyways, if you enjoy this type of videos, leave it a thumbs up, subscribe if not, and I'll see you all in another one. Bye-bye.